What's popping, y'all? Unlike another rapper in particular, the past couple of weeks that we saw getting up on camera crying, this level of vulnerability is actually authentic and favored, and should be favored, and that's by none other than Casey. If you guys are unfamiliar, Casey was a double XL freshman of 2022 alongside Sofago and Dochi. I had done a video on his story on my main channel. I don't know if I'll remember to link it on here, but I'm not promising I'm going to link it. But he got famous and a lot of respect from the Donda sessions working with Ye. His vocals were all throughout. It was on Keep My Spirit Alive, on the chorus. I think he was also on like a Keep My Spirit Alive Part 2 and another version of some of the Donda leaks. I think he was also on Hurricane, which was one of the best tracks on that. And he had writing and production credit throughout. He was part of the whole Donda sessions and in the lead up of that album. And people were wondering, who is this guy? What is he working on? What's going to happen next? And he had been dropping music for quite a while, since 2016 or 2017, and he just kept dropping. I think he also had writing credits for Wash Us in the Blood with Ye, and then he got a deal with Boo's record label, Boo Vision. Boo at the time, Boo, by the way, is the brother of Akon. I think he also manages Ian. I don't know, Ian, who's a recent Double XL freshman now. So he got a Grammy, or he was nominated for a Grammy for Album of the Year for that work, and I think he got a Grammy for Hurricane. So, and this was in 2020, 2021, and then he also had a collab EP with Gesaffelstein in 2022. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, Gesaffelstein is his producer. He worked on 2 tracks on one of my favorite and most underrated projects by The Weeknd, which is My Dear Melancholy. I think that was supposed to be made for Selena Gomez or post Selena Gomez. I'm not entirely sure which. And y'all know, well, some of y'all don't know, I was a big Selena Gomez fan as a kid, just of her TV shows and of her, I was like 10 years old. I had the biggest crush on Selena Gomez. Well, I actually kind of like some of her music. And I was a young buck. Anyway, you're on this crazy momentum, and then I started wondering what happened to this guy. Like, he worked with this producer that doesn't really work with many rappers, and I think he also had some songwriting on Thank God on Travis Scott's album Utopia, or some sort of credit on there, and he got signed to Columbia. So you're thinking, okay, things are going to start moving for him now, right? Well, not really. He released a couple of EPs here and there, but he finally released a mixtape, and in the lead up to the mixtape, also he stopped working with Ye, or Ye stopped bringing him along. I think that's a better way to describe it. And this guy's talented. He's not like a lyrical type of rapper, but he does make good music. And he said, "Happy birthday to Ye. Thank you for being a crucial part of my journey. May God bless you and surround with your family on this day." So clearly he doesn't got a problem with Ye, which isn't something that many other people can say. Some people just try to toss their lack of success on Ye, or their lack of success from not being around Ye. But he continues and says, "Going through life, BS, and music contract stuff that I can't even enjoy nothing for real. New album, Midnight, for all those who care for art. Before I was born." And then he continues, "I've been literally struggling the past 2 years of my life. I have no place to live, but I have studio equipment I can fly with and set up at any place I'm welcome at. Before I was born, BIWB out on all platforms." This was in preparation and a rollout for his new mixtape, which I believe dropped independently. He's still going through some contractual issues regarding that. And in the first track, he gets vulnerable about his situation as well. And this is something that I don't think fans recognize enough, and it's a healthy amount of vulnerability, because he's not begging for help from anybody. He's trying to earn his keep. He's not saying that other popular artists owe him anything. He just wants to work, and he wants people to check out his work. And Before I Was Born, it's just tagged Before I Was Born. Whereas the other projects, like Saddest Truth, for example, that one was released under Columbia, under Boo Vision. And that did okay, but people expected Casey to go up after that, because even Sofago currently is performing way better when he drops than Casey. And Casey was supposed to be him, like he was supposed to be the prodigy. And then he continues and says, "A lot of artists have not felt how it feels to have a label be so excited to sign you, support you on your first release, then leave you in the dust when you don't do things their way. And a lot of great artists have. keep going and stay true to the art and God. When I post about I'm doing features, I'm usually hurting and need the money. I'd forever rather find a way to make money in music than go sell drugs and end up in jail or dead. I'm truly surviving in my own way, and I'm thankful because I'll remember every part of the journey. I will say, I like how he said, yo, I'd rather make money in this music than go sell drugs and end up in jail or dead. Like, those are the only two options. How about getting a job? Now, I'm not telling Casey to get a job because he's making it work. He's not scamming anybody, which I respect, because some of these guys, they pretend like they're selling features and then they just collect the bag and they keep it pushing and the person doesn't get the feature, which is some scam, scummy stuff that I can never co-sign. But there have been a couple of people that worked with Ye in the past, and they had good looks and they had good momentum, and then we just don't know what happened. Like, for example, Alan Kingdom, if you guys remember him, he had his own motion going on, and then he was on All Day. He was on that infamous performance of All Day where everybody was on stage, and now if you look up Alan Kingdom, I don't know what he's doing. I think he may just have a regular job, but that's an example of somebody where I'm saying, like, yo, I think he's still trying to make music, and it hasn't gone far for him. It's probably for sure not a full-time thing, but he gets to make music and he's working a job. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, Alan Kingdom just dropped a project in 2025 and it got a total of 10,000 streams. And that's no disrespect to him. I respect that he still loves the art so much to continue making it. Another example of somebody that I would say doesn't want to, I think he's struggled and he's helped a lot of people out, is Ty Fontaine. Like, Ty Fontaine is somebody who I don't think he necessarily had a label issue and he's consistently dropped, but this guy's a talented artist that's better than a lot of other artists in the game that have higher numbers than him, but it just never really panned out. And I think there was a point in time where they could have really helped push him, but they just had other artists that were doing well, and this was internet money era. But Ty Fontaine has not stopped. He's continued dropping consistently ever since then. I think he does a similar thing where he's just dropping a ton of features as well, and he's trying to get it in other ways. But I think this is the story that artists shouldn't really hide. And I think it gives good perspective to fans, because fans seem to just think that millions appear in the pockets of artists. Like, artists could have huge looks. They could have covers on magazines. They could have Grammys. They could be working with whatever artist you think is the most poppin' thing ever, and they could still genuinely be broke, in terms of not just broke as in they are in debt to their label, but they still have money to spend. No, broke as in the label might have shelved them and they barely have any money to their name and they're living on someone else's couch. And artists like that, that's a moment where you can share that. That makes for great music. I think Lil Keed was probably in this position before he passed, unfortunately, because he had blown up and then he had kind of petered out and then we didn't really know what was going on with him. And to see this with Casey and to see him be willing to talk about this, it got my attention on him. It showed up on my feed. That tweet showed up on my feed. I ended up listening to the project by him. I didn't know what had happened to him in the past couple of years. And that just goes to show how competitive the market is right now for rappers, because if you are able to make it and then let's say you're independent, the label doesn't support you as much, if they're not putting dollars behind you consistently to keep you in front of other people, because that's what other rappers are doing, you're just gonna fall out of what's happening with them. Like, I knew what was going on with Casey, but post 2023, last year I had no idea what he did. Same thing with this year. And I think maybe with the time he got signed, Boo, because he found Ian, and then he just said, okay, this Ian guy is really going up. I'm going to transition my attention onto him and my resources. And that's just how the nature of the game. That's just how the game goes. You gotta be generating a profit for the guy on the label to really focus on you. And I think at the time it made sense. But also, Boo moved his label from Columbia to, I believe, Atlantic. So I don't know I don't know if he's bringing them to Atlantic or the artists that he already had are not there anymore. And also, Forbats is also signed to Boo, I believe. I think he's signed to Boo Vision. So he's got a pretty good roster, to be fair. I like the way he's handling his business. He signed some good acts, but we're going to have to see where it pans out with Casey. I think y'all should check out the project if you haven't already. You're going to get some lyrics and some content from a guy who was working with Ye. And he's at a position where this is where you make the best music of your life. It's not when you're on top of the world. It's when you feel like you have something to prove. And he's got something to prove right now. I haven't listened to the whole project yet. I've listened to a couple of songs. I plan on getting it finished in a couple of days. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Have you been paying attention to Casey since, or have you kind of fell out of contact with what he's been putting out as of late? Let me know in the comments. Do you like that he's putting this out there, or do you think that it comes across as lame and just trying to relate to people? I don't know. Some people are off-put by this. And if you are, I'd like to know why. Let me know down below. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.